Hello, this is take two video. I hate it when I have to do the same goddamn video twice. It's what I think about Brain Weiss Mini Lives Mini Masters. I am having to do it twice because I got 3.5 minutes into the other one and then the battery died, so, or the card filled up. And I'm not gonna just add to the other one because then I'd have to splice it and transfer it, which takes fucking hours and hours and hours. So let's just redo it. I read the book because one of my subscribers like a month ago, I think a woman, said that I should read it. So then I read it, and it's interesting. It's about the psychologist who's really, God, I hate doing the same video twice. It's a psychologist who's really like traditionally minded Jewish dude, and he got this woman came to him who was like really freaked out. She had all these phobias. She was afraid to swallow pills because she thought she would choke. She was afraid. She had claustrophobia. She was afraid to be inside of like dark areas, and had a lot of panic attacks. And yeah, so he was like this really traditionally minded guy. Didn't even believe in reincarnation. And the woman didn't either. And then so he decided to do hypnotherapy, and she remembered when she was 3 years old and her father fingered her. And but then in reincarnation, or the next hypnotherapy, she remembered her reincarnation from another life. And he's like, wait, what? This is another life? What year is it? 1538 BC or something in Greece. And yeah, so he like he did her. I don't know how many times he hypnotized her, but he should have mentioned in the book how many times he did that. But after, it was only like 4 months, I guess she did, like once a week for 4 months. So I guess it was like 20 times or something. But overall, she talked about 10 to 12 past lives that she had, and she got like a lot better. And she had these past lives that actually explained why she had her phobias. Like in one life, she was locked into in a cave because she was with a bunch of people who were sick, and it was a contagious sickness, and so they just let him die, and so that's why she's afraid of being locked in. And then she was afraid of choking because she got her throat slit because she was in a Danish raiding party, and she was like a young, like adolescent boy, and she was afraid she didn't want to fight, so she didn't get out of the boat. And then she got her like throat slashed, and the guy who slashed her throat was her present day boyfriend, who's actually a married dude. And so she mentioned a lot of like past lives she had that that had people who she knew in her present life. Her best friend in her present life was her sister in another life. Her present day boyfriend was the guy who slashed her throat in a life, and then was her father in another life. And the therapist, Brain Weiss, was her uncle and her spiritual teacher in 1538 BC in Greece. And she walked by his grave when he lived from like 1680 to 1730, when she was in like France. It's just like, oh yeah, that's your grave. And then she had some other recurring people who they knew in a past life. And so I believe it, because like all of a sudden she would like speak in like the accent of a child when she was remembering certain events when she was in a child, and she would like remember the same events in, multiple times too. And then she like knew a lot about Egypt, even though she didn't know anything about Egypt in her life. She went to the exhibition, and she was like correcting the tour guide, and this is before she was like hypnotized, and she didn't know why. And then he said she got more and more psychic as they went on, and he did too, as they went on with the hypnosis, because she could like wake up from the hypnosis and remember her past lives, and she'd kind of be in that mindset. And yeah, so then after she stopped doing the meetings with him, she started seeing a psychic to like give her an astrologic psychic. And the astrologist psychic, without the woman telling the psychic anything about herself, the psychic confirmed like a bunch of the past lives to detail, that she remembered under hypnosis, which basically proves that it's real. And And yeah, and her knowledge of stuff in the past lives also proved that it was real. And she got better. She lost her phobia. Yeah, like one reason she had a phobia from the swallowing the pills is a few months before she started the meetings. The doctors put her under anesthesia to do a throat surgery, and they shoved something down her throat, and they were like, "Oh man, is her throat gonna swell up when we take this out?" And she heard it, even though she was under. So now I guess surgeons don't talk and make jokes and throw temper tantrums while the person's under in the same room because they can hear it, even though when they wake up they might not remember it. You know, beyond a dream, but they can still hear it subconsciously. So, but anyways, the astrologist psychic said that she had lived 87 past lives on the earth. So, you know, since like I guess maybe her first was 1537 BC, since then she had lived 87. So who knows? Maybe people. So I guess you would live mathematically if you figured out. Well, that's a lot of lives. I mean, it's only been 30 generations since Jesus. So if you go another 2,000 years back, that's 60 lives. So then it was another 2,000 years before that to get it up to 90. So that, you know, and that's getting reborn as soon as you. That's dying. That's living 30 years, average only 30 years, and then being reborn immediately after. So if she lived 87 lives, you know, and her average lifespan was 50 years. And then there was like, say, a 5-year break between lives, you know, they would have had to go back to at least like 10,000, 11,000, 12,000 BC, so, or more, farther, so, I guess that makes sense, although, or maybe it was just more spread out and it was just went back to like 250,000 BC or whatever, but anyways, I'm just thinking out loud. But yeah, she was a man and a woman in her past lives, so I guess you are reborn as men and women. Staggering. You know, maybe the man and then a woman. Most of her past lives, she was a woman. She only remembered 2 past lives, and I think that the 10 to 12 where she had recalled where she was a man. Once, you know, when her throat was slashed, her name was Johann, and then another time when she was an Ukrainian orphan. And she died as a boy because her father was captured for something he wasn't guilty of and hung, and so he was a orphan and then just starved to death. But yeah, she had both lives where she was both privileged and a slave. She was a Nubian slave in Egypt, and that was a bad life, although I guess not that bad because she tended to stuff. But she had like a really bad life where she was like a slave, treated poorly, and then she was like her most recent life that she recalled, she was a German pilot in World War II, and she knew that it was just useless. Like she recalled the emotions, and that's part of what makes the book really interesting. And she can recall the emotions of the people. It's kind of like being interviewed by somebody who lived in another life, you know. Like he knew that the war was useless and it was just a will of a few crazy people who made a whole bunch of people follow him, but they had to fight for the country because it was their country and he knew he was going to die, and so that was kind of interesting. I have heard some other. This is something good to bring up for people who don't believe in reincarnation, because I've heard a lot. I mean, there's other books, man. If you do your research, you can't deny the reality of reincarnation. I heard a coast to coast interview by some like kid who could vividly remember his past life before that, where he was a World War II pilot and he crashed, and he could remember all of his friends, the plane he crashed, and he actually met with his friends from World War II as old guys, and they were like reminiscing like it was yesterday, and so it was really interesting. There was a book written about it. And you know, there's also other stories. It's actually really weird, dude. Like I uploaded this video yesterday, and then, or I didn't upload the video. I recorded the video like a couple days ago, and then I was gonna re-record the video today. But then I got YouTube comments, and it was Brain Weiss, the same guy. I mean, coincidence. On my there was because I got the email, because I originally set up a YouTube account for Duncan Campbell, who actually interviewed Brain Weiss. And I guess my email is still up on the person who who gets the emails whenever they somebody comments on a video, and I haven't heard one of those comments in a long ass time, so that's kind of interesting. But anyways, it's a good book. It's a good read. It's an easy read. I'd recommend reading it. It said he was like afraid to come forth with his idea, and if you are going to come forth and believe it, I can definitely empathize how you would be like paranoid, that people might think you're a whack job, because he was like mainstream, like high-end mainstream psychologist, and didn't believe that stuff. So that would be cool to hear that kind of stuff from other people, or what other hypnotherapists think about that. I want to try to get if I ever come across money in the future, I would like to pay a hypnotherapist to hypnotize me, and see if I can remember my past lives. Although I don't think I'm one of those people who could get hypnotized, because I can't concentrate like that. I'm way too like spacey, I would be like, they'd be like, count to 10 and pay attention to my pendulum, and I would be like thinking about something else, and I just wouldn't be able to go under it. That would be cool to be hypnotized. I heard by one guy who he witnessed somebody getting hypnotized, and they actually were hypnotized. And J.C. Ventura, on his conspiracy theory TV show, did this episode where some dude got hypnotized because they were showing like super soldiers. And the guy's like, yeah, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and then they're going to, on the count of 3, you're going to snap out of it. And then the guy did all the thing, and they snapped him out of it, and then he didn't remember doing anything, and it was like caught right on camera, So it's like, that was fucking real? The guy's like, yeah, dude. So I don't know how they did that. I would love to try to get hypnotized if I could, but I don't think I'm one of those people who could get hypnotized. But I would like to remember my past lives. I do sort of remember some past lives. The best way to remember past lives is to record those past lives when you remember them when you're younger, because I remembered my past lives and stuff when I was younger. And like my mission statement for my life, but it was just so outlandish that I just didn't take it seriously, and then I forgot what it was in certain past lives. Although I have been to psychics, and they have told me very consistent stuff about my past lives. Maybe I should talk about that in another video, but I guess I'll spend the rest of the time on this video to talk about that. Yeah, I went to a psychic. She said I was a Native American in a past life, and I died in battle or whatever. I went to another psychic woman who said I was a Native American in my past life. In my 4 past lives, I was a Native American. Or maybe it was another woman who said that. But yeah, one of those women said in my last 4 lives I was Native American. And I had like my arm blown off. But she said in one past life I was a Native American. I was the son of the chief, and I would like go off on these like really long horse rides or runs or something, and like totally like destroy my body on it, like push my body to the maximum. And then this other psychic I went to said that I was totally like Native American to her. And a lot of people in this life here, they say I have like slanty eyes, and they think like, do you have like Ching Chang in you? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, it's because I had a lot of Native American in me, and also Ching Chang in me in the past, and so my soul is kind of Ching Changy or Native American, and it kind of makes my Caucasian features a little bit Ching Changy or Native American, even though I'm 100% Caucasian. So because you do bring your facial features with you into another life. Shinga-dinga-dingy. Oh, but in between they had the masters. They had these like master spirits, guardian angels talk, and that's what this guy Brain Weiss is really interested in. And they would say stuff like, karmically you have to be reborn again with this, and have like redo relationships with people, so that you can fix relationships. So that's why she kept having reoccurring lives with these people, so that they could fix it and get their relationship better and better, and learn with each other how to like live a good life and stuff. And that there's many different levels of living levels of life, and then there's a transition level when you first die where they take you in, and then there's the evaluation level, and then there's like and then you get reborn, and then you can like, once you get to the higher levels, more enlightened, you can start to look in the future, but they don't let you look in the future as you're a human because you're just not ready for it. Anyways, I'm out of time.